Today I'm going to wash some yeast. I usually just use a bit of slurry right here, like this, after it's done fermenting, and just take a portion of that and dump it into my next batch. I feel like I haven't been getting the greatest of flavors recently on some of my beers, and I think that has something to do with it. I want like fresh yeast, clean yeast, so I'm going to start washing my yeast a little more often, and if I don't use it after 3-4 months, maybe up to 6, I'll just dump it. It's not a big deal. I'm going to start this process now. I usually do this inside, but I'm going to wash 2 batches I have, so I'm going to do this outside today. Here I have a pale ale I did recently. Maybe it's about a week old since I bottled it. So I'm going to wash that. And this is a lager I did, the dark Czech lager recently, and going to wash that as well. So yeah, let's get to work here. The first thing I'm going to do, and the first step, is to boil some water. And you want to boil water because you want to kill off any bacteria that's in there. I'm also pulling it from the tap, so I don't want there to be any chlorine in there as well. I'm going to boil it outside here in my 5-gallon pot. And I'm going to fill about 2.5 gallons of water in there, get to a boil for about 15 minutes, then chill it down, and then add it to here, and then a portion to here. Alright, so this is about ready to come to a boil here. I'm going to put some mason jars in the boil as well. I'm going to need these for a future step and a good way to sanitize them. You can also just use Star San, but if you really want to kill the bacteria, it's good to boil them for about 15 minutes along with the water. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a wort chiller in there around the same time, which is about now. And yeah, we'll be good to go. I don't know if I can fit the wort chiller in there, I just realized, with the mason jars. So I'll boil the mason jars for about 10 minutes, pull them out, and put the wort chiller in there for about another 7-8 minutes or so. And that should do it. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to take the mason jars out and put the wort chiller in there. I think you can also do these in a dishwasher as well. I've heard people doing that with their bottles to sanitize them. I don't have a dishwasher, so this is what I got. The boil is about done here. And then I'm going to pump cold water through it and cool it down to room temp. I'm going to put some ice into this. Get it real cold. So now I'm pumping really ice cold water through everything. It'll be done in about 10 minutes or so. I got 265 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm now going to transfer it into this 1-gallon jug and the carboys over here. Okay, so I'm going to lay both these on, well, I can't lay that on its side yet. I'm going to lay this on its side because I've heard it's a little better to separate that way, but you can do it either way. You can leave it vertical if you want. And in about 15 minutes or so, you start to see a separation from the yeast and the true. And I'll show you what that looks like in 15 minutes. I forgot to do it, so I'll do it right now, but you got to swirl this a little bit. Get all the crap from the bottom out. Alright, so you can see here, this part right here is good yeast. So this all the tube and all the stuff is sunk down and the wort's being separated. So this is what I want to harvest right there. Same thing here. All this stuff here in between is what I want. So I'm gonna transfer this next into another jar and separate it even more. So this is sanitized. Ideally this would be boiled as well, but I didn't do it. But ideally it should be boiled also. You want to make sure no wild bacteria is in any of this stuff. So what you do is you take this and you slowly pour off into here, and you leave everything else behind. So there's still more yeast in here that I could harvest for sure if I had another jar, but I don't. But now what's going to happen is this is going to separate even more. I'll get even more pure yeast out of this. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy here, into this 1-gallon jug. So I'm going to dump this out and put this into there. Okay, this is fully sanitized. I will need a funnel for this one. I know what you're thinking. Why not boil this, boil everything? Ideally, yes. Or have a really, really high sort of acid washing chemical sort of thing. I could do that. Why I boil those other jars is so it's going to be stored for a while, and then that I think is a little more important. Make sure that's really, really sanitized and boiled. You can also do it acid wash. I think the principle behind that is you get basically like get your pH like 2, and that will kill anything wild that's growing in there. But I know you can lose some cells as well, some Saccharomyces cells as well doing that. I think pro brewers acid wash their yeast more than home brewers do. I've never done it, but acid washing could be a good thing too. So, good. I'm going to let this sit now for about another 30-40 minutes or so and see how much it separates. And I should be good to go from here into the jars. I only have 3 jars right now. Ideally, I'd probably have like 4 or 5 and it'd be bigger, like maybe like even this size or about half this size maybe. Like I think somewhere in between these two is ideal to store yeast. But I only have the small ones right now, so I'm making do with that. All right, you can kind of see here some of the separation that's happening. You can see the lighter color there. And at the bottom, you can see a tiny bit of yeast, or trub, I should say. Same with this one, it's slowly separating out. So it's been about 15 minutes. I'm letting it go for another 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes. I'm gonna put these into mason jars now. So I think you gotta fill them pretty much to the top. And I've read and heard from multiple people that you gotta screw the lids on loosely, because the yeast can maybe sometimes like float up a little bit. Maybe, I don't know if they eat or if they create a little CO2 or something, but I've heard like, you know, not that they can explode, but it's good for them to have a little bit of a release of CO2 or gas, I should say, or pressure is the right word I'm looking for there. So loosely on there. Although they're boiled, I throw a little star cinnamon on them just for extra good measure. So that's good there. We'll see how much this clears up too. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to tell at this point. There's obviously more yeast that can be harvested in here, but I'm just gonna do a couple of these for now just to see what I get out of it. Yeah, it's also, this video is a little bit more for me to kind of relearn how to do this again, because it's been a while. It's been maybe about a year since I've harvested yeast. I did a lot more often, but kind of fell out of practice. Okay, so that's it. Here's what they look like. I'm gonna put these in the cold chest freezer, about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, let everything drop out, and after about a week or two, I should have yeast at the bottom, a little ring of yeast at the bottom. So this is the yeast. It's 5 days later, I believe. You can see it there at the bottom. So I'm actually going to use this today for something, but normally that's sit for like a week or two, and then you would have even more of it. But that should be good enough for what I'm doing today. By the way, it's really good to label these too, because I've not labeled them before, and I've really got confused on what's what.